What's going on out there in the Audi Volkswagen world? This is Richard, but I'm gonna let y'all know y'all can call me Rick, with another video, Street Rides. This video, I'm pretty much just want to talk to you guys about the mods that I have. I know I get a lot of questions from people who are newer at modifying their Audi or whatnot, and that's cool. I have a little bit of a mechanic background, military. I was a track repairer, and I worked for Honda for a few years as a mechanic. That's not to say I have all the knowledge or I know everything about Audis. That's far from it, but I have a little bit of knowledge. And I've been modifying cars for a minute. So I modified a lot of Hondas, engine swaps, those types of things. Turbocharged RSXs, turbocharged pretty much everything. S2000s, all that stuff. But I want to do this video just to kind of explain some things. So in the video, you're going to see me washing my wife's car. That's how I get parts. I keep her happy, I get my parts. No questions asked. Beta, but either way, happy wife, happy life. So it's just going to be a video of me washing my wife's car while I talk over it. If you like these types of videos, just let me know. If it's not your thing, then I respect that. But I think that kind of giving a breakdown on the mods that I'm doing and why I'm doing them, how they work, are they worth it, just brutally honest with that information. So yeah, so because this is a S5 Audi video channel, I figure I should start the video off inside my S5. So all right then. Alright, so I've been modifying my car, as you guys have seen, and I've been getting some questions, and I think they're really good questions. And I think that there are people who love their Audis, S5 especially, but just want a little bit more power from it. I think it's a great bang for your buck. You know, it's not as expensive as the RS5, but it's comparable. Power versus cost, and then of course you can build it up to the stock speed of an RS5 or whatnot. But basically I want to kind of go over the modifications that I've done to my S5 because I get some really good questions. One of the first things I did was change out the intercooler to a bigger intercooler with the Rev 9 design. There are other companies out there that are just as big or comparable, like APR, and then there's some really good ones, like I think it's Wagner. I don't remember the name. But basically what they do is, over the stock intercooler, is allow you to cool the air that's going to enter the turbo, because compressed air warms up, right? I'm sorry, not enter the turbo, but it cools the air that is going to enter the engine. Compressed air is very hot, and so you want to cool that air, because what happens when you don't is you get what they call heat soak, which makes the engine not perform as well, because hot air is less dense, and so therefore you start to lose power as everything starts to heat up. So the intercooler, a bigger intercooler over the stock one, will allow for more efficiency and cooler intake air temperatures, which will allow your car to perform more consistently at its at a peak type of performance. So no, it doesn't really add any power to your vehicle, but it is something that is much needed when you are adding power, because more power is more heat. So you're gonna want to look into probably getting intercooler as a prerequisite to getting more power. Next thing I did change was the intake on the vehicle. Intake is very controversial because every car pretty much responds differently to intake system based upon how well the OEM manufacturer built the intake system for the vehicle. Obviously, a little bit the higher performance vehicle generally have a better intake system because the idea behind the vehicle is to make more power. So sometimes adding an intake can hurt the vehicle, but a lot of times it doesn't add any power, or you don't lose any power. But once again, it helps for higher powerful engines that are going to require more air to utilize the mods that you've added besides the intake. So with an intake, you generally get a bigger piping, usually somewhere around, depending on your vehicle, 2.5 to 3 inch diameter for your intake pipe. And this will allow for more air to move into the turbo. But the biggest thing you pretty much get from an intake is going to be sound. You're gonna free up that turbo sound. If you have a turbo vehicle, it's gonna free it up. You're gonna get a lot of that vacuum sound, and I think that sounds good. It sounds cool. It just amplifies the speed that the vehicle is already making. Power the vehicle is already making. It just goes well. So one of the biggest things about adding an intake, especially to a performance vehicle that already has a good intake, is going to be the sound, the turbo spooling, the blow-off valve, those types of things. Don't expect to gain, tenths of seconds on your quarter mile time just from an intake on the S5 application. But it all works together, right? It all goes hand in hand, But horsepower gains is more of a percent thing than it is an actual hard number. We see hard numbers when we look at modifications, but it's really a percent thing. 10% power gain, 20% power gain, things like that. So, because all these parts, they kind of work together. The next part that I added to my S5 was the downpipe. So the downpipe is going to be pretty much my power adder. Downpipes tend to add more power because they allow the turbo to spool faster, and it moves air quicker, which means you can get more air into the engine, which will help the engine breathe better, and thus leading to more power. All right. It's also a prerequisite for tuning. If you want to really get the most out of your tune, whether it be APR, Unitronic, EPL, JP4, it doesn't matter. You're going to want a downpipe if you really want to utilize the power that these tunes can add. Generally, what a downpipe does is, like I said, is it adds, it gives you better flow of exhaust gases, which, like I said, helps the turbo spool faster. There are generally two types of downpipes. The first one is going to be the catless downpipe, right? And this is pretty much just for people who want to go all out race. There are some drawbacks to it. Of course, smell that will creep into the cabin generally when you have a catless downpipe. And you won't pass emissions if you don't have a way of hiding your check engine light. Also, you're definitely not helping the environment with a catless downpipe. The second one is a catted downpipe, and there's generally different types of catted downpipes, usually measured in cell, 200 cell, 300 cell, so on and so forth. And everybody, manufacturer-wise, has their own way of rating their catted downpipe. Unfortunately for CTS, I was unable to find what cell they run, but I do know that it is better flow than the stock cat on the S5, which is actually 2 cats in the downpipe, and you're going to replace it with 1 cat, which obviously less cats, better flow. Now, one thing that needs to be said is sound. You're going to get a little bit more burbles or burps, and the exhaust is going to rumble a little bit more, but it's not going to overtake, it's not going to be so loud that, oh my God, it's like, hey, here's this monster coming down the road, because you have the exhaust system, which has pre-mufflers, it has resonators, it has mufflers, all these different things to keep the car quiet. So just by changing your downpipe, it'll make the car louder, but it's not going to turn your car into like a V8 or anything like that when you have all these other tools or other parts in your vehicle that are designed basically to muffle the sound. So changing the downpipe, like I said, will give you some sound. It will sound great, but it won't be that loud. It won't be. What you'll want to do is you want to look at getting pre-muffler deletes, or getting rid of your resonator, I guess, or going straight pipe or whatnot. But mind you, then you have to worry about exhaust drone when you're driving at highway speeds, which can become very annoying. So different things to look at with the exhaust system. It's one of the reasons why I haven't really changed my exhaust yet, is because I'm still trying to research and find the perfect exhaust for me, because I don't like drone and I would like something even louder, but I don't want to build a full out race car. I don't want to smell my exhaust fumes and things like that. The last thing that I changed on my vehicle is the turbo inlet pipe. This for me is purely aesthetics. It just looks good to me. The stock inlet, it's perfectly fine. It's small plastic too. It probably does better with heat than what I've got installed now, but to me it looks great. It's not costly. You might get a little bit more sound out of it, just because of the smoothness of the aftermarket one, and with my CTS inlet. But generally, it does nothing. It won't add any power. Very little power. Just, to me, it finishes off the intake system, and it just works well for me. So I think that's about it. I have future mods coming. My tune is coming. I'm just waiting for the warranty to be up, even though I don't know why I'm waiting, since I could probably fix anything wrong with the car outside anything that needs to be hooked up to a special Audi computer. I'm also looking at adding a RS5 front grille and going with some type of front lip and rear diffuser of some sort. I haven't decided on that yet. It's one step at a time. I've already started upgrading the tires with some, what are they called, a Pilot Sport 4S's, Michelin. Yeah. So just trying to remember off the top of my head. So we're slowly moving, lowering the vehicle, looking at rims. There's a lot to do, and I hope that you guys stick with me on this journey. It would be great if you subscribe if you haven't. You can follow me on Instagram as well. I try to post on there often, and it'd be great to hear from you guys, your future builds on your vehicles. It doesn't have to be an Audi. There are other vehicles out there that are great vehicles. If Audi's your thing, definitely grow this journey with me. If cars are your thing, go this journey with me. I'm learning. I'm trying to teach at the same time, and I'm always willing to learn from you guys. And I've met some great people who are going to do some great things with their vehicle, and I can't wait to hear about y'all's finished product. All right. So I hope you like this type of video. Comment below. Let me know what you think about this type of video. And yeah, this car, my wife's car that I'm washing, it turned out pretty great. She was really happy with it. So I was able to knock out 2 birds, 1 stone. All right, y'all take care. And as usual, you can catch me here later.